piecemeal and a little bit makeshift with all the players that you've got out at the moment. How did it feel for you out?
Yeah, it was a bit of a disappointing one, to be honest. We've fought pretty well for the start of the year, and we just felt like our contest wasn't there on the day, and they're a good quality, experienced side, and in the end they beat us in a lot of aspects and a lot of key aspects, and we were disappointed, but we do have a young squad, like you said, and we'll be back and we'll be fine, and we'll get under Port, who are obviously flying at the moment with their last performance.
It's like another injury with Joel, that's adding to another growing injury list. Do you know how he's going?
Not too sure. I know it's a hamstring, so he'll definitely miss this week. But we'll assess. I mean, I won't, but the physios and the coaches will assess as to how bad it is. But all I know is it's a hamstring. He'll definitely miss this week. Hopefully not too long, because he's obviously got a history of them.
What was that review like with Coxie today? And what can you take it into what Coxie does in a review that might be a little bit different, and how he looks at things and what that's like for you as a player?
He's awesome. Coxie's great at like being direct, figuring out what went wrong, but also getting around the fellas and diving into the sort of the emotional and the mental side of things as well. And it was really good. It was tough to go and see some of the efforts we put up as a team, which was so different to what we'd put into the first month of footy. So that was disappointing, but he's really good, and then get out there and move on from it. Now we focus on Port and focus on us.
There's obviously been a little bit said about the attack after the game this weekend, and I guess the fact that you guys had, I think, one more inside 50 than Collingwood, but weren't able to kind of get the scores on the board. What do you think is the key to finding that kind of form and attack again? And obviously it's hard when you've got missing Joel for half the game and Logan's still not back yet as well, and you've got Paps missing. Is it just getting troops back, or is there other things that can be worked on?
Yeah, you obviously need a balance of players contributing, and I think it starts with our defence. Our defence was poor on the weekend, and we know when we get that right, our attack flows, so the boys can play off instinct, and we're going to need a step up from a lot of boys, seeing that we're missing a lot of key players that do kick our goals. So whether it comes to the midfield or these new fellas coming through that are putting pressure on in the forward line, I'm sure we've got the team that we can do it, but we just need to do it as a team.
Obviously, it's not your role, but how do you see Logan potentially coming into the side with Joel out?
Yeah, he's obviously missed a fair chunk of footy, so I think he's a test for this week, and from all reports played pretty well in the VFL. So hopefully puts his hand up for selection, and I'll leave that to Coxie. It's obviously a tough one with what happens, especially with the keys forward and back. So that'll be an interesting one to look forward to.
You touched on Port a bit. Did you catch some of the game against the Hawks?
Yeah, I don't watch much footy, but I did watch that one, and their first half was pretty scary, to be honest. The way they put the scores on the board, and I think it started in the midfield. They got to work in there, and we know it's going to be a massive battle. It always is kind of a battle of the midfield when it comes to Port Adelaide with us, and they tore it up on the weekend, and hopefully we can stop some of their half-backers especially coming through and kicking goals and really setting up in attack. So if we nullify a few of those, hopefully we can go close to getting the job done.
You guys traded results last year. Do you guys touch on those games at all?
We'll touch on it a little bit, yeah, but also we're slightly different in the way we go about things this year as well, and we'll focus on ourselves as well, and but we'll definitely touch into their game style, and I'm sure it hasn't changed too much from last year, but there'll be some key personnel that we need to obviously get after as well.
Port's first half yesterday certainly reminded me of the game that you played against them last year. Did it remind you of that?
Yeah, I don't want to be reminded of that one, but yeah, it did a little bit, yeah.
And it's a really weird, sort of bizarre record that you have against Port. I think it was 8 or 9 in a row that they won, and then you got them in the pre-league, which was an extraordinary turnaround from last year. Can you put together why that's such a sort of bizarre matchup? Yeah,
it was. I think obviously the spanking they gave us was one of those games that we were obviously off completely, and we'd held such a high standard throughout the whole season last year, and sort of elapsed we had obviously a 2-3 week period there we weren't great, so we bounced back and in the final produced a pretty good performance against them. So we'll take that confidence into that, knowing that we've played good footy this year as well. We make it scrappy. We're a team that obviously focus on the contest, and that's where it's going to start with them, and hopefully, I mean, they're a good hardened side as well, so it's going to be tough, but I think we've got the troops to get it done.
Just when you were chatting about that surge and that form and consistency that you guys are after, in the same breath, so many injuries and that kind of thing this year as well. Like, as a senior player, how do you absorb it all? Like, obviously, you know that things will come in time. Is there a bit of patience there, or is it just not allowing that patience and wanting things to kind of happen now?
Oh, there's a bit of both. I think you got to be patient, but at the same time, I think the gap between our younger players and our sort of, I guess if you want to call it our VFL side, the gap between those players and our senior side is really tightening. So it's good to see these young fellas come in and play specific roles and actually play really well. Even though we didn't play well on the weekend, we had some real key contributors in the younger fellas that are inexperienced against such a quality side and an experienced side. So patience is key, but at the same time, we want to bring everyone along as fast as we can and be competitive every week.
Is it great to see some of those guys who have come into the team? Obviously, Tom Hanley is one that sticks to mind who debuted this year, but obviously you've got Bicey, you've got Caden Cleary who's come back in, Corey, all those young guys who are making the most of some of the opportunities in this first side.
Absolutely. All we can ask for them is to have a crack and learn, keep asking questions. And those, especially those 4 that you said, they do that each week. And you can see whether it be GPS, whether it be physically, they're ripping in. They may not necessarily have the game style, the game sort of sense, the footy IQ, but I mean, Bicey does. He's a very good player at down halfback, but they might not necessarily have that, but they're just ripping in and doing the team thing, and that's all you can ask. And when we do that as a team, we're hard to beat.
And from your own perspective, we saw obviously without Millsy a couple of weeks that you were game day captain. It's been shared around a bit. Rowy's done a bit, perhaps did it a bit too. But taking on that extra responsibility, obviously you're playing in a really high-profile midfield role. But do you enjoy having that sort of leadership ability on the field as well? Is that something that you've kind of explored a little bit more over the last 12 months?
Yeah, it's been fun. It doesn't necessarily change too much other than game day. I think we've got such a good, strong core leadership group that we can share it. And on game day throughout the week, we kind of ease the load of Millsy to do everything, especially when he needs to be focusing on himself with his injuries and whatnot. So it doesn't change too much. You just got that pre-game speech in the huddle, which I myself. I said it again. I'm not great with, so I'll let the other boys that generally have some energy spark the boys up. But no, it's been a good learning curve to dive into the leadership sort of aspect of things.
And just in terms of looking at that midfield, obviously we've obviously seen Chad play a little bit more forward time this year. I mean, can you take us into that role and maybe what that kind of has helped unlock for him? Obviously, maybe getting a bit less of the ball, but especially some of those games. I mean, you look at that Freo game, he's still having a really big impact.
Yeah, he's obviously one of the best players in the competition, and when he's at his best, he tears the game apart. So those sort of players you kind of want to keep in the front half and let him do his thing. And when he's playing off instinct, and especially when he transitions in defence and then just plays off instinct in attack, he's hard to beat. And he's playing a little bit more forward, and he wants to hit the scoreboard. He's enjoying that. He's enjoying the different nuances of learning the forward craft, and it's really good for the team. And we obviously need his punch in the midfield as well, as we do have a few injuries, but that forward sort of role for him is something crucial for the team.
Well, there's still a few guys up in the air with injury. Juzzy should be back this week. How big of a boost is it to get him back after the suspension? He's
one of those, like he just cracks in and does everything for the team. He'll be the hardest defending, running player defensively in the game, and you know that he's going to crack in and do have you back as a player. He's similar to Rowie in that aspect that he's a real team player, so he's going to be massive this week.